Today, we're diving into a book that's way more than just an incredible life story. Paramahansa Yogananda's Autobiography of a Yogi reads like this epic adventure, but hidden inside, it's actually a practical guide, a manual for unlocking your own inner power using real scientific techniques.
So let me just start with this question. What if you could actually shape your reality? Not with magic, but with a skill you could train and develop. The whole idea in this book is that these extraordinary feats we read about aren't miracles. They're just the result of understanding and applying certain universal laws that really any of us can learn.
All right, so the first tool in our yogic toolbox is something every single one of us has, the human mind. But we're not just talking about everyday thinking. We're talking about the mind when it's laser-focused, concentrated, and aims like an arrow. And there's this one wild story from Yogananda's childhood that shows this perfectly. Now get this. This isn't some ancient chant from a scroll. This was said by a young Yogananda during a heated argument with his sister. He got so indignant that he focused all of his mental energy, his entire will, with this absolute, unshakable belief, and made that declaration. And you know what? It actually worked. The very next day, a massive boil popped up, right on the spot he had pointed to. It got so bad, it had to be surgically removed, and he even had the scar for the rest of his life as a pretty potent reminder of what he'd done. This wasn't some fluke. It was his focused will literally creating a physical result.
So the science behind this is something the book calls the power of the word. The idea is that words aren't just empty sounds. When you charge them with really deep concentration, they become vibrations with actual physical power. And that power is totally neutral. It can be destructive, like with the boil, or it can be incredibly constructive.
And just to prove that point, there's a great positive example too. Another time, he used that exact same intense, focused intention, this time as a prayer, to somehow bring two kites that were flying away, totally out of reach, right back into his hands. It's the same exact law, just used for a completely different, more helpful purpose.
So this power of the mind is directly linked to our next big topic, the body's own subtle energy system. The yogis in India discovered this force they called prana, which they believed was even more fundamental than atomic energy. It's the actual life force that runs everything. You can think of prana as the intelligent energy that animates us. It's behind our heartbeat, our breath, our thoughts. Everything we experience, sight, sound, touch, is really just a different vibration of this prana. And here's the key insight from the yogis. If you can learn to control your prana, you can pretty much control everything else.
So, how in the world do you control an invisible energy? Well, the main control switch, the handle you can grab onto, is your breath. And this is where we see the huge difference between just, breathing to stay alive and the yogic science of pranayama. Pranayama isn't just taking a few deep breaths. It's a whole set of specific, conscious techniques to regulate your breathing in order to direct that life force, calm your mind, and pull your energy inward, away from all the external distractions. The book introduces the most advanced, the highest application of all these principles as a very specific technique called Kriya Yoga. It's talked about as a direct, scientific path for speeding up your own spiritual evolution, passed down through this incredible lineage of masters.
So what is Kriya Yoga really? Well, at its core, it's a method that uses breath and energy control to quiet down that constant storm of thoughts and sensory information that's always bombarding us. By calming all that static, you can finally access these much deeper states of awareness and real inner peace.
Okay, so we've got the power of the mind and the power of the breath. Now let's get into a third set of tools from the book. These are all about working on a vibrational level, basically helping you protect your own energy and get in sync with the bigger forces of the universe. Think of this as your practical vibrational toolbox for daily life. We've got the specific sounds of mantras, the subtle energies that come from pure metals and gems, and of course, the power of focused prayer, which we've already seen can do some pretty amazing things. Now, the book makes a really interesting point about mantras. It says that Sanskrit, as a language, is uniquely powerful. Why? Because each of its 50 letters corresponds to one specific, unchanging sound. Because of that phonetic purity, when you chant a Sanskrit mantra correctly, you're creating a very precise vibration that has a real beneficial effect. And then there's this, which might sound a little out there at first, but the book explains it like a kind of protective technology. The idea is that planets, like everything else, give off subtle radiation. For centuries, yogis have worn astrological bangles made of very specific, pure metals and gems. The claim is that these materials emit their own kind of subtle light that helps to neutralize or harmonize any negative cosmic influences, basically acting like a shield for your personal energy field. So let's pull all these threads together. We've talked about focused will, controlled breath, and these vibrational tools. The book's biggest message is that all the miracles you read about, they aren't masters breaking the laws of nature. They are masters applying higher, more subtle laws that most of us just don't know about. And this quote right here is kind of the grand unified theory of it all. It basically says everything we experience, everything, is just a vibration of energy at the subatomic level. And those vibrations, they're all ultimately governed by that one life force, prana. So it follows that if a master can control prana, they can influence the very building blocks of matter itself. So the key takeaway is this. When we read about a yogi materializing something out of thin air or healing someone instantly, we are not witnessing something that defies the laws of the universe. No, what we're seeing is a demonstration of a deeper understanding of those laws. And this is the most empowering part of the whole book. These abilities aren't just for a few special saints. They represent the untapped potential, the spiritual birthright that's hidden inside every single one of us. I absolutely love this analogy from the book because it makes so much sense. Our mind is like this incredibly powerful radio. The problem is, most of the time, it's just filled with static, restless thoughts, worries, sensory overload. Techniques like Kriya Yoga are designed to clear that static. And when the mind becomes calm and clear, it can broadcast thoughts with incredible power and receive intuition with perfect clarity. So that brings us to the end. The Autobiography of a Yogi really isn't just a book to be read and put on a shelf. It's a toolbox waiting to be used. From simply focusing your thoughts to being more conscious of your breath, it lays out a whole path. And that leaves us with one final really important question. It's not about what you just learned, it's about what you're going to do. So what is the first technique you will explore?